What's up, fellas? It is December 2nd, a Monday daily fantasy NBA show, Insiders TV, presented by DraftDay.
In a league of my own, all about the W. I'ma bring it home when it's over with. I'ma be the king of the throne. I'm in this zone.
Yeah, with me we have the one and only Davis Maddock. At Davis Maddock, you can find him on Twitter. And then the CEO of Fanium, at Grant Girton, also coming out with FantasyElite.com. Another DFS game that should be pretty fun. Today's, in case the Mondays, a short slate, but we will get through it. Also, on the air today, we're going to pick a lucky T-shirt winner. If you haven't already, go follow and retweet at InsidersDFS, and you will get a nice little T-shirt. Grant, why don't you sit up just a little bit and show them the quality of that shirt?
Move it down. It's a good. I want to say that I was doing Fantasy Insider shows for like 4 months before I got one of these. Someone today is going to get one just for watching the show. So that's a. I was bothering you for months. I finally got one, and now someone today.
Listen,
is going to watch the show.
Listen,
and they're going to get a shirt. That's awesome.
You
got to retweet and just go push it.
You aren't the only one though.
I was after Dave hard. I wanted a shirt so bad. I wore it to class today.
No, this is one of the nicest shirts in fantasy sports. It looks sharp. You can see it on me right now. And I'm just saying that someone's got to understand the value of that shirt is higher than the normal T-shirt. So you got to go retweet the thing out, retweet our show out. I'm sure that we'd appreciate that. And let's get some viewers in here. And someone's going to get this week, someone's going to get a free Fantasy Insiders T-shirt, and someone's going to win $1 million playing fantasy football. I'm not sure which one's more significant, but you got to now. I got to tell you, man, there's a much higher probability. You can't get in the millionaire tournament now, but you can still win that T-shirt. So go on there and
I know that our one of the Insiders co-founders, Dan, aka Mr. Tuttle, can tell you which is more important, a T-shirt or the $1 million thing. I just hope he stays in a hot streak. Yesterday, he crushed it everywhere again.
Beast mode.
Man, he is going to win He's going to win all the expert tourneys. He's already qualified for all the 3 big tourneys. He's just absolutely dominating the fantasy football landscape. And what was so funny is that he was whining, literally whining, because this is at the end of baseball season. So he was like, I don't want NFL to start, yada, yada, yada. And now look at him, just absolutely dominating the NFL DFS landscape. Back to the T-shirts, the only request is that whoever wins not be a medium. It's whenever we did the T-shirts for fantasysports.org, everybody was like an XL or double X. So when I ordered the Fantasy Insider shirt, I ordered XL or double X. Then everybody asked for a freaking medium. Everybody is a medium.
We're small guys, man. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I'm like 5'4", dude. Like a medium is stretching it.
Well, all I know is that enjoy it while it lasts. I remember when I used to be a medium.
Davis, random rant, man. How much does it suck to buy a jersey on eBay when you're short? There's so many good jerseys for big people, man. It's
look at this thing, dude. The logo is at my belly button. It's ridiculous. Look how much T-shirt there is here, and this is a medium.
It sucks, man. I felt that pain, but I found my Heinrich jersey and I jumped on it. Then he was terrible.
Yeah, I found this Monte one on your suggestion. You said if I went on a heater that night, I had to get one, and I did.
You got it.
Oh man, let's get back onto the NBA since this is the NBA, the daily NBA Insiders TV presented by DraftDay show. Just a shout out to DraftDay. They've got bracket games going on, target games. This is still a short slate, but this is the reason why I love DraftDay is because even on a small slate of games, it's still fun to enter the bracket games. And wife was not very happy with me yesterday because the only NBA game I played was the bracket game from Friday, and I was on the road in traffic making a team on my phone. Did not go over well with the wife, but that's what it does to you. So make sure you're getting over there at Draft Day. We'll talk later about Scott's the day before tomorrow article and the pick 5. As far as news goes today, a little bit of news out of Houston. I'll let you take that, Davis, as far as what that is.
Yeah, it's that Chandler Parsons sat out a shoot around, which actually could be a big deal because Caspi and Garcia are both shooters, right? But Caspi is a straight up gunner. Like he will go out there, and even if he's missing, he's going to keep shooting. And that'll also probably mean some extra minutes for Aaron Brooks with Harden at the point. So if Parsons doesn't go, Brooks is a nice play for very, very cheap across the board, and I like Caspi as well.
Oh, yes. Caspi is a favorite of mine from his first 2 or 3 games there this season. And if Parsons is out, he's good to go. And I also like your take on Brooks because he is still dirt cheap. Well, a lot of people, even just talking about Draft Day when I was looking earlier, all of the Houston Rockets are relatively cheap to what they could do tonight. And you also have to look at when a really good team is playing on the road, you don't have to worry about blowouts as much as you do when they're playing at home. So Houston at Utah, and then you also have Indiana at Portland. Grant, are you thinking about taking any of these Indiana guys?
The Portland plays at a pretty fast pace from what I saw in Chicago. I got to tell you, if Indiana can play any bit as well as the Bulls did in that first 3 quarters before Rose got hurt, it could be a really good game for the Pacers tonight. I'm not a betting person, but if I was, I'd really like the Pacers to cover tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. I just think that this is going to be a good night for Indiana, although I really think that the value tonight, though, is with my own team, the Chicago Bulls. I think that's where people are going to find a lot of value in the front court of Chicago with Anthony Davis out. I think it's going to make a big difference as to what Noah and Carlos Boozer are able to do at pretty low prices, especially on our sponsor Draft Day. Boozer and Noah are lower in price than some of the guys that might be comparable to those guys in skill, in my opinion. And unless the game gets out of hand, I think both of them could be teed up for pretty nice games.
Boozer had a whopping 22 or 23 fantasy points on Saturday night. Noah,
he was horrible.
Not much better.
He was awful. They were both bad, but the whole thing of that game, and I've been waiting for it all year, Andrew Bynum took up so much space in the middle of the court that Noah could get any rebounds. But now, with Bynum not in that game, obviously, for the Pelicans, Jason Smith and Ryan Anderson aren't going to keep those guys out of scoring points. Someone's got to score. I mean, it's like the Bulls are the most scoring inept team in the NBA, but that means I think post layups for the Bulls. Watching them try to score is painful. My boy Tony Snell is going off too. He's cheap everywhere. I think Tony Snell is a top roster filler tonight, but I wouldn't play all 3. I think Boozer and Noah could provide some nice value. I think they're going to be low percentage owned for the reasons that you guys are talking about, but we're talking about Jason Smith and Ryan Anderson here. It's not the all-star team of defensive front courts.
I can't remember a time when you had so many wrist and hand injuries back to back to back. So basically, if you haven't heard, Anthony Davis out with a wrist injury. You also have JJ Redick, who did something to his hand or wrist. I think is out 6 to 8 weeks there for the Clippers. And then you have Paul Pierce, who did something to his hand. So lots of hand injuries. Not sure that there is any sort. Davis, do you think that has to do with anything, like the training or lack thereof, as far as hands?
I think hand injuries are kind of fluky, right? Like, I don't know if there's anything you can do to sort of strengthen up the muscles or your bones in your hand. Like, I think that's I don't know if there's anything you can do about it. On that note, though, you have to play Ryan Anderson like in all your lineups. You have to have 100% exposure to him tonight, though. Like, are we agreed? Are we agreed on that?
Where his price is significantly low, I mean, and also maybe not on efficiency sites. I haven't even checked Draft Street to see what his price is over there.
He's below 12K.
So it's decent. As
Ryan Anderson, our sponsor, is not necessarily that cheap though. At 10.9 on draft day, I as we've talked about before, those guys are very sharp. Scott goes in and just makes pretty good line adjustments. I think Ryan Anderson at 10.9. I'd take Boozer at 11.150 over Ryan Anderson at 10.9. That's just my overall opinion. Boozer's going to be a better rebounder. I mean, talk about the guys who get more consistent points. I think Boozer's a better rebounder than Ryan Anderson is. I think that if I were to guess, gut feeling, the Bulls also play good defense. They might not be able to score, but they play good defense. Thibodeau is going to find a way to stop him from scoring the ball. I'm not sure how, but Boozer's not necessarily a great defender, but I don't see
they would have to switch Dang on him to shut him down. I think
they could put Noah on him. Noah could cover him because Jason Smith, as I said earlier, not a scoring machine. So they might make that switch. I've seen the Bulls do it before, and Noah's a very good defender. So I'd be wary of Anderson at that 10.9 price tag on our sponsor, but I think that other places where he's significantly cheaper. I just think we look at guys. I think Hilario is playing, right? I haven't seen anything injury. I haven't seen injury news on Hilario. He's going to play for the Wizards. He is
playing.
So yeah, I mean Nene. I mean even Duncan at 12. I just think all those guys in that range are probably a little bit. Noah at 10.4, lower than Anderson.
I just have a hard time
chucking him in
Duncan's
there.
third game in 4 nights, correct?
Yes.
So
he could sit quick. That is a problem. He could sit quickly against Atlanta. They're going to beat him up.
Yeah, this Hawks Spurs game is one that I'll likely be avoiding unless we hear any significant news. The bottom line is with 5 games tonight, you've got to pick someone from somewhere, and this Bulls game is definitely it's the lowest scoring as far as Vegas goes, but I agree with you about Snells. And that's what I call him, Snells. And on FanDuel and DraftDay, and I'm sure DraftKings also, he's a good play, and he's a lineup filler. And then you also have the 2 games that I'm really targeting tonight is this Houston Rockets Jazz game, and then the Orlando Magic Wizards game. Both of those, especially the Magic and the Wizards, you have. The Wizards with just such a small rotation going on right now that they're all getting so many minutes. I'm paying up for John Wall tonight and want to get your take on it. Davis, I'll start with you.
Yeah, Wall, even he's 19K on Draft Street, but yeah, I think you on a short night like this, and you can get a superstar who's not like crazy like LeBron Durant price. I think you kind of have to do it, especially because there is value to be had tonight. Like I do like Noah tonight, and he's 6.8 on FanDuel. I think you kind of have to get Wall in, and even to an extension, Damian Lillard as well.
Grant.
I echo everything about Wall. I mean, I'm not going to tell you any new information. The guy's a stud. He's in a good matchup, and given the slate of games tonight, I think that he's a guy I'd like to have exposure to. He's not a player I think I'd want to get cute and fade on the slate of games we have. There are not a ton of studs tonight, and Wall is one that I think is probably the biggest lock of anybody to put up a bunch of points.
The other news in that game is that Jameer Nelson probably not going to play, even though he did make the road trip, and of course Tobias Harris not going to play. But without Nelson, you've got Ejuan Moore and then Oladipo. Oladipo would be a pretty fun play tonight. I'm not sure about cash games, but as far as his ceiling is pretty high, especially in this game against the Magic. I'm going to be rolling with Oladipo in a few tournaments, and am curious as to your thoughts to what he can do. Is he safe to play, Davis, on an efficiency site in your estimation?
Yeah, isn't he like exactly what we want for cash games? He could score 4 like actual points and still put up 30 fantasy points. He gets assists, he gets rebounds, he gets blocks, he gets steals. Now he's probably going to turn the ball over 7 times. So you can assume a -10 there or something like that, because that's just what he's doing right now. But with more of like the playmaking responsibilities, I definitely want him in my cash game lineups because he contributes in all the categories.
Grant?
Exactly what he said. I think that's pretty much what I would say to a T. He'll get you steals and pretty much every other category you want, even when he's not scoring. So where he's cheap still, I see no reason not to play Oladipo unless there are two guys in his position that you like significantly better.
Each one more. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists last game. I think he'll have a little bit better line, and especially on sites where he can play him at the shooting guard position for cheap. I don't mind it. I never mind playing small at the shooting guard, especially with your salary to allow room for point guards and power forwards and big men especially. So that is kind of where I'm thinking. As far as draft day, I like to get in if I can at least 3 point guards, and so you've got a guy George Hill under 10K, and George Hill, he can be boom or bust, but in a game like tonight, where you can play him at a shooting guard spot for under 10K, he also is a guy that I'm looking at,
especially in that matchup versus Lillard. I think that you're getting a plus matchup on Hill. I think that's a guy who's a very, very strong play, and I'm with you on draft day. I often try to play 4-point guards if I can, and slide guys over into those shooting guard slots. Guys like Heinrich, who I believe have dual eligibility. Also, they're always guys I like looking at in draft day because I think that point guards it helps to have guys. The more guys in the lineup that you can have with the ball in their hand who are going to get assists, I think is going to lower your risk of getting points, especially if you're a player like me who likes to play primarily in double ups. I think that just getting over that 50% threshold, you're giving yourself the highest probability of doing it by playing a guy like George Hill or a Heinrich, who are going to get points even if they don't score, like Oladipo also.
Dink Piece in the chat says, anyone want to take Wall versus me in a head-to-head on Draft Street? So he is calling out someone to take Wall versus him on Draft Street. We also have Teammate Sports says, is Nelson confirmed out yet? I don't think it's confirmed, but it is expected. So
I'm just going to go give a quick plug. If you ever want to check if a guy's out or not, Draft Day, if you hit the view full stats button, they have a Twitter feed up on the right side. And that feed happens to be powered by the great company that's on my hat, but it also is probably the best way to get up-to-date information. So, on that Twitter feed right now, looking at Draft Day, Jameer Nelson is on the plane, and he said in a quote 3 days ago, it's not something serious, but I think that he's making the trip, but I don't know if he's going to play. He's going to be with the team.
Definitely, and we talked about that last week. That's what's really cool about about Draft Day is that they do incorporate that technology. So you see right here, you can pull up Jameer Nelson and see on this Twitter feed to your right. You scroll down and see everything related to Jameer Nelson. So definitely pretty cool. Talking about Scott's article, I want to go. He just released it in the hour, and if you are just now joining us, in about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, we'll be drawing for the T-shirt. So if you have
someone is going to become a Fantasy Insiders T-shirt holder 6 days before the millionaire, 7 days maybe. I think it's 6 before the millionaire is chosen. So we're kicking off the big week in a big way.
And let's not forget that it's Cyber Monday as well.
It is.
Boom.
So many annoying emails this morning. My God. It's painful.
Taking a look at this article, again, if you go to Draft Day and then click on strategy, you can find Scott Malwig's at sports_25 to life. You can find his plays, and it's someone who I've been reading for a long time. So he thinks that John Wall and Vooch are the locks tonight, and that Webster, Ariza, and Gortat are the solid plays. And all those guys are definitely from the same team. And you've been even on DraftKings, I've noticed that Superfly has kind of taken that strategy of playing all 5 starting Wizards and then just filling in with value elsewhere. And it's worked. It has worked.
It works because they play so many minutes and they're good on offense.
So, I mean, who would have thought that you'd be stacking a whole team and NBA and actually being profitable? But
I do with the Heat. I do with the Heat sometimes on their starters and bench, as I said in blowout games. Sometimes I think it can be done especially on teams where the ball is being shared. I love playing LeBron and Wade sometimes in a double up. If I think they're both gonna have good games, because they usually both produce their value. But going the whole lineup's pretty extreme. But they're underpriced, and you think that you're getting a good points per dollar on that team. Why not?
I'm not starting the whole Miami Heat team. I think if you want to start like two or three, if one of the big three or two of the big three are out, then you can. But starting the whole starting five,
I don't start the whole starting five. I start three of the starters often, and then we'll plug in bench players at minimum salary, depending on what the news is that night.
well, people are talking about Oladipo guarding Wall, and that could be a problem. He has been foul prone. Davis, why don't you look up to see his fouls recently? Seems like he's been getting in foul trouble a little bit this season, and also turning the ball over. Like CSU Ram says that he'd go with the over on Oladipo, turning the ball over more than 7 times. So you're talking about lots of lots of steals, because those won't be unforced; they will be forced turnovers for sure.
Not his fouls. Oladipo only has 3.4 fouls per 36.
Okay,
So that's pretty low.
not terrible. He did get into foul trouble the other night. Got four quick, and by the third quarter, and they just can't afford for him to get into foul trouble. So that's going to be definitely an interesting matchup. Thoughts on Vucevic though tonight, though, Grant?
I love Vucevic every night. I mean, I think that he's one of the most consistent guys you can put in your lineup to get points and rebounds. And I think that there's no reason not to fire him up in tonight's game in a pretty short slate against the Wizards. I think he will. I think they like to play him even when they're down by a little bit. I think that probably his floor tonight somewhere between 25 and 30 fantasy points, which is not terrible. So he's a guy I think that I'd be, as Scott said, completely comfortable to fire up, because his upside, he has a high floor, and his upside is about as high as anybody right now. He can go up for games. His upside is probably 30 and 20. Is he going to hit that tonight? Probably not, but that is the maximum. You can get a lot of points from Vucevic.
Davis?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there are some cheaper options at center that you can roll with. I mean, obviously you can't play Dwight Howard in cash games, so I don't have a problem with Vooch tonight. But I'm going with Noah personally.
Oh man, I've taken Noah. It seems more than I did last year already, and
he's cheap. Last year he was expensive, and now he's at a low price, and it's tempting. And
Ask the Bulls fan in chat. Dink will tell us if it's smart or not.
Well, Dink is like, he's on the negative side, so he'll definitely. I know that he has tried to roster Noah just like I have. It seems like on Draft Street his price just keeps on getting lower and lower, and you still can't play him. But Gortat or Vucevic, who are you playing? I bet that's a pick 5 question somewhere, but who are you playing tonight, Grant?
I like Vucevic better just because of the volume of Vucevic's impact on the Magic offense and overall team is higher than Gortat's impact on the Wizards and their overall team. So based on that, even with the 7-point spread, I always look at, like, in a head-to-head thing, who's going to outscore the other guy more than 50% of the time and whose floor is higher. Vucevic is a higher floor, and I think outscores Gortat more than half the time if you simulate that game 100 times.
I kind of think that Vooch has the lower floor but the much higher ceiling, though. Because we've seen him post 60-point games, and I don't think Gortat will ever do that with Wall taking so many shots. But Vooch has gone out there and just posted absolute stinkers a couple times already this year.
I don't see it happening tonight, though. But
yeah,
you never know.
That's fair.
All right, I'm going to get ready to do this pick 5, and there is no Vucevic on there. Davis, I'm going to let you handle the hosting duties for this pick 5 while I get ready for this drawing. So let me make sure that this is all queued up, and you and Grant go over this pick 5, And then we'll be drawing for the Grand Ole T-shirt.
The Rapid Fire Max, if I'm correct. Are we doing the Rapid Fire Max or the Rapid Fire? Which of the two?
Rapid Fire Max, dude.
All right, going 5 for 5. Okay. And there we go. Got Hibbert and Ryan Anderson.
I'm going Ryan Anderson there. I think Hibbert completely disappears from games, and he is going to have to work defensively against Aldridge. So I think that one's pretty easy, actually.
I disagree, so I'm going on the other end. One thing I was doing some more research on Ryan Anderson. I'm not a huge Ryan Anderson guy. I could be, maybe that will change soon. But I was doing some research on Anderson. One thing to note about Anderson, one of the reasons I think everyone's on him is his last 3 games. He had some really, really easy matchups in those 3 games. I think it was the New York Knicks. He was playing the Golden State Warriors, and who's the third team in his last 3? Maybe I could look it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that he's the type of.
Those are cupcakes, though. So I think that his.
But he's not in there banging in the paint, though. It all comes down to if his shot is falling or not. And I hate to say it, but he's hot right now.
I think that just Hibbert is it was Philadelphia, another horrendous defensive team. So those are really, they're talking about really, really bad defenses 3 games in a row. Hibbert. I think Portland is the kind of game where I could see Hibbert getting a bunch of blocks. I think Scott is super sharp here. Knows people are probably going to take Anderson. He has the higher points per game. I think Hibbert's a trap here. I think Roy Hibbert outscores Anderson. It might not even be hard. It could be a very wide margin tonight. So we're on different ends there.
I will keep that in mind. All right, the next one I think actually is harder because LMA has just like the worst defensive matchup for a big man in the league. And Dang doesn't have a particularly good matchup. I think Reek actually is the type of guy that can give Dang problems because he still can't dribble. But he's shooting 17 times a game, which is 5 higher than his average before Rose went out. And he is just have so much of the offensive responsibility for Chicago. So I think I'm going Dang.
That's a brutal matchup. This is about as brutal as a matchup as you can get because Luol is playing out of his mind all of a sudden. He was playing terrible, and then Rose got hurt, and shots are falling for him. Aldridge is obviously the superior player, but isn't a bad matchup. I'm just going to go with Luol based on, maybe a gut feeling and the fact that he's a little bit hotter at the moment. But, that's not a matchup I'd feel extremely confident in. That can go either way.
Yep. All right. Good there. All right. The next one is, I think this next one's pretty easy. I think it's Oladipo versus Washington.
Ah, man.
I like Noah, but I love Oladipo tonight.
Noah's just going to feast on that front court, though. If there's a good matchup for Noah, this is it. I got to go with Oladipo as well, though, based on just this is the deal. I think that Oladipo, if you simulate that game 100 times, the way I like to think about these, Oladipo's got to take that one more than half the time. So I'm going with Oladipo, but very reluctantly.
All right. Next one is James Harden versus John Wall. This is just...
That's not even reluctant. That's just John Wall.
That's just John Wall. I don't think we've gotten any news on Harden, but I don't think Chandler Parsons being out is good for him. He's I know everyone likes to talk about him being such an efficient player, but really if he's not getting foul calls, what are you getting?
I don't know. I just think that, Harden, every matchup you have the potential for someone to win, but I just think that Wall's my lock of the day, so I'm not gonna move off that.
With Beal out, he's just shooting more, and it's really that simple. This next one I actually think is hard. Favors and Boozer, and I'm gonna let you talk while I try and decide on this for a second.
I'm gonna go with Carlos because he's one of my favorite plays of the day. There's some days Carlos. Please note when I say this, Carlos was awful on Saturday. Carlos Boozer probably played his worst game of the year on Saturday against the Cavaliers. But I think that one of the reasons, he just missed some really easy shots. But I just think that Andrew Bynum returned to form all of a sudden. It had to happen. I've been an Andrew Bynum guy all year. I told my dad we're watching the game. I said, Dad, I've been talking about how Andrew Bynum's good all year. He's got to play well against my team. It happened. He went off. This is not Andrew Bynum. The Pelicans have a bad front court. I can't get confident in the Utah Jazz for anything. So for that reason, it's got it. I think the Utah Jazz have a lot of value in that game. We talk about that when we go through the schedule, but I think you got to go Boozer. This could be one of those big games for Boozer, I think, tonight. So I'll pick Carlos in a tough matchup for sure.
Right on. Well, there you have it. We're giving out rapid fire max money. We got Ryan Anderson, the Wall Dang, Oladipo, John Wall, and Carlos Boozer.
You're not super confident in that, by the way. I think that this is a pretty rough. he had some nice matchups today. I think this is not one I go in picking 5 guys and saying, man, I'm feeling good, then I'm going to sweep that. But
No, normally I don't play the rapid fire max, but I do feel good about today, so I just put in my 11 to win 200 right there.
Very nice. I'll just say that I don't know. I think Grant has too much love for Boozer today. Too much love.
We'll see.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
We will see. What we're about to see right now is the who is going to win the T-shirt. I mean, people are foaming at the mouth for this thing. Grant, can you stand up one more time and model this thing?
Yeah, let's move my shirt a little. Let's move this thing a little bit. I got see how well I can do this. There's the shirt. Rocking it. Now we have Davis on there. There we go. It's back. Got the shirt.
Oh man,
face. It's probably better. It probably looks better without my face. You got the whole just the shirt. It's probably a.
Do not take it off. Leave that shirt on. We'll save the strip show for the sweat show later. We'll go to the random generator. Had 40 retweets. So number 36. So we'll go all the way down. 38, 40, 39, 38, 37. Trey Roberts at T Roberts. I. So I'm guessing it's Trey Roberts III. He is the lucky winner. So Trey, if you will come up to the front desk, and we will reward you with the T-shirt. So we'll make sure we message you later on. Very nice. Let's get on to some of the other games that we have going on this afternoon, or later on tonight, rather. Who are some value point guard? We talked about Wall, but who are some point guards, Davis, that you're looking at other than Wall? That seems to be kind of the difficult thing in deciding.
I don't like Drew Holiday. I think you can make room. I think you can make room for George Hill, and I do like Aaron Brooks tonight. And my cash game lineups on FanDuel, he was my last player in there. And I think if Parsons doesn't go tonight, I do like him. He'll pick up some extra shots, pick up some extra minutes. And I mean, yeah, he can go 1 for 6, but he can also get hot like he did against the T-Wolves the other night and score 30.
Grant.
It would be crazy for me not to mention Kirk Heinrich, but his price on FanDuel is not anymore as cheap as it was before. So I think that not sure I love Heinrich tonight, but if that's I could confidently recommend him if you have like $5,300 left and you're looking for that last spot. But it would be my role to mention him. I like Aaron Brooks a lot, though. I think that with Len's injury, it opens the door up for him. He's a guy who could score. I think that he probably is the best value on the board today of anybody, and I think he's also a guy. I agree with you, Davis. You could use him in a cash game lineup on FanDuel.
I'm going to go with a little bit kind of off the beaten path and go with my boy Patrick Beverley tonight. I think, they did say that Trey Burke, his minutes have been lifted, or the limits for his minutes have been lifted, and I think you'll see Patrick Beverley play a lot of minutes on Burke tonight. So we will see. If Burke was not playing Houston, I would probably like him a lot. I just don't. I think Patrick Beverley is going to have his way with him.
Hey, is Trey Burke good? I don't watch college basketball.
Yes.
I watched him at the Final Four.
Yeah, I watched him against KU, so that was heartbreaking.
He is he is going to be a really good point guard in the league. And Utah basically they went all in with Burke this season, and it kind of bit him whenever he got hurt. But I think now you'll just see him continue to get better and better. I really like Trey Burke. He's kind of in that Damian Lillard mold, and he's not afraid to shoot the ball, not afraid to force things. I just think
that's what I want. I want a guy who will just take 20 shots and not feel bad about it if none of them go in.
And there's Dink saying that Trey Burke reminds him of a poor man's Lillard. So there you go. There's only a 4-second delay, so I feel like he typed that after I said it, which
he stole it from me.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it exactly like that, but yes, he stole it from me. Shooting guard, I talked about Tony Snell, especially on the site like FanDuel. where you can get some cap relief on.
He looks good. He looks really good. While Boozer was horrible.
Hold